in Omaha and Scottsbluff, Nebraska, or around the world. I think that's what people want. That's what we should concentrate on with city government is public safety, streets, garbage, parks, and affordable housing.
Educate, inform, inspire. The Dan Parsons Show, a podcast that lifts up instead of tearing down.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Dan Parsons Show. I'm your host, Dan Parsons. Coming up on today's show, Mike McDonnell, former state senator and now candidate for mayor of Omaha. The race for mayor is heating up, with only days to go before the April 1st primary election. Here's my conversation with Senator McDonnell. Enjoy.
The people decide. The voices impacting Omaha. This is Election Coverage 2025 on The Dan Parsons Show.
Well, we are focusing on the Omaha mayor's race this spring, and the primary is just days away, Tuesday, April 1st. 5 candidates are running for mayor of Omaha. The top 2 vote getters will advance to the May 13th general elections. My pleasure to welcome former state senator and now candidate for mayor of Omaha, Mike McDonnell. Mike, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. You've spent your life serving Omaha, 24 years in the fire department, including 6 years as chief, and recently served in the Nebraska legislature for 2 terms. So I guess my first question, Senator, what motivates you to serve?
You know, having an opportunity to grow up in the neighborhood I did. I live 4 blocks from the house I grew up in. And kind of like a pheasant, I've gone like 2 square miles in my whole life. So Omaha's given me everything. It gave my family everything. I'm 5th generation, living in this city. And my parents, after my father served in World War II, him and my mother's dream was to be homeowners and own their own home. And they did. They accomplished that in 1958. They built a house where all 8 of us were raised, and had a chance to go to St. Thomas More, a grade school, Gross High School, and then had a football scholarship to the University of Nebraska in Omaha, and then had 24 years, as you mentioned, to serve the citizens as a firefighter. And then 3 years as I came back and started teaching after I retired from the fire department at the University of Nebraska Omaha for 3 years, and then was elected to LD5, the area I grew up in 2016. And so I had a chance to represent the people of Nebraska as a state senator. That was an honor and a privilege, and educational. Definitely, you meet a lot of people, you learn, and serving 8 years on Appropriations Committee, you deal with all aspects of state government, and you have the ability to meet a number of people on the state. And of course, we're always taking care of our own legislative district, but also we're state senators, so we're looking out east, west, municipalities. But growing up in the neighborhood I did, one thing you learn later on as an adult, we didn't have everything we wanted, but we had everything we needed. And the idea of having good public safety, good paying jobs, good educational opportunities, that makes a difference. And I want every kid in the city of Omaha to have that opportunity to grow up in that kind of neighborhood I did, to be the best version of themselves. But they need that. I think they need that surrounding that I did, with great family, friends, and neighbors that have helped me my whole life. I tell people I think God really knew I was going to need a lot of help, because he definitely surrounded me with a lot of great family, friends, and neighbors. And I really appreciate that. But, we right now have a crack in the city of Omaha's foundation. And I think any foundation, the core of a city government, should be public safety, streets, garbage, and parks, affordable housing. And right now we also have a homeless crisis going on. But we have to make sure we take care of those issues. And right now, for example, we have a crisis, a staffing crisis with the police department. They've averaged over 100 police officers approximately for the last 4 years, being short of their complement. And you can always make a dangerous job safer. You can never make a dangerous job safe. But with the idea of having the right personnel, training, equipment, and technology, you can make that job safer. And right now, we have not done that as the city of Omaha. And you look at the opportunities we've had back in September 27th of last year, Sheriff Aaron Hansen reached out and told the city that he was at his full complement, that he had the opportunity to actually hire more people, and he could contract out with the city while they're trying to catch up, because today we're 120 police officers short, and give them the opportunity to possibly, let's say, take some of the traffic, the enforcement, off the plate of the Omaha police officers go through the sheriff's office, which I thought was a great a way to help the city. Based on, we know that quality of life crimes have gone up in the city of Omaha. 2023, we had motor vehicle thefts were the highest ever, and then motor vehicle fatalities were the highest in 2024. And there's minimal enforcement going on from 10:30 p.m. till 6 a.m. in the city of Omaha, which the sheriff's office could have fit into that. Also, the idea that going into other communities and laterally transferring, recruiting people. And I think we should recruit the families. And it's a great place to raise a family in the city of Omaha, but possibly do a lateral transfer now with a police officer, then their family could follow at the end of the school year. And that's something we could do without changing the charter or our contractual changes, by just going out and recruiting more intently in the larger cities and smaller cities around the country to try to get people to laterally transfer. But also we have to make some changes internally. We still don't have maternity, paternity leave here in the city of Omaha, for our female officers, and that I think gives them a more of an opportunity to come in and serve as our police officers. And those little things, I can't believe it. It's 2025 and we're still talking about trying to get maternity and paternity leave, and I think we can do better with that. I think there's a number of things we can do with just trying to make sure that the police, and right now the Omaha Police Department, I'm proud to have the Omaha Police Officers Association endorsement of those 800 men and women that protect us and put on the uniform daily and go out there and do that dangerous work for our community. Right now they're the fourth highest paid in the state of Nebraska, and they're protecting 25% of our population. Soon to be, unless there's a change here coming up in August, they'll be the sixth highest paid in the state. So I think we have to do better on the idea of retaining and recruiting, but we have to look at our benefit package and making sure that we take a dangerous job, make it as safe as possible for those police officers that are serving us, but also for, of course, for the citizens that they're protecting. So it always starts off with public safety.
That's a great start. Wow. We hit it hard. That's good. Okay. Our producers have come up with 4 questions to get to know our guests a little bit better. And then you get to fire one back at me. So we call it Dan's 4 and you're 1. So if you're ready, let's do these. Where did you grow up?
I kind of answered that at South Omaha. Again, I live 4 blocks from where I was born and raised, and proud of the neighborhood. Again, it's St. Thomas More area. Very proud of the area I grew up in. And again, I stayed there, and a number of my friends that I grew up with and family, they decided to stay in the same neighborhood. And again, my parents helped start the church in 1958, St. Thomas More Church, and build a home there. And we were all raised there. My parents died in that home. And again, I'm 5th generation from Omaha, and I love Omaha, and I'll be buried in Omaha, and hopefully the next generation, the 6th and 7th generation, will benefit off of what we've done and improved our neighborhood and our city. And but I think it comes back to the idea of family, friends, and neighbors. And I think what do people want? They want to spend time with their family, friends, and neighbors. They want their family, friends, and neighbors to be safe. They want to get something back to their family, friends, and neighbors in time, talent, or treasure. I think that's in Omaha, in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, or we're talking about around the world. I think that's what people want. That's what we should concentrate on with city government, is that public safety, streets, garbage, parks, and affordable housing.
You bet. Okay. Question number 2. What was your dream job when you were a kid?
Well, my father was an Omaha firefighter, and my uncle was an Omaha firefighter, and always looking up to them. I believe it was always coming back to the fire service, and I had the opportunity to serve the citizens for 24 years, and that was an honor, and met so many great firefighters that were so dedicated to helping people, but met so many great citizens. And again, growing up, basically staying in our neighborhood, except for going to different sporting events, playing sports, and getting on the bus and going to different parts of the town. But when you serve as a firefighter, you're basically living for 24 hours, in all to the city. And but looking up to my father and my uncle and others that were firefighters, I believe that was always in the back of my mind to be a firefighter. I was very proud of it.
Very cool. Question number 3, the most famous person you've met?
I met a lot of people that probably aren't famous based on the idea of being well known, but what they do on a day-to-day, how they take care of their family, friends, and neighbors, and the sacrifices they take on for others. I met a lot of famous people that way, but probably most well-known, probably President Bill Clinton.
Okay.
That's probably the most recognizable person that I've ever met. But a lot of people you meet on a day-to-day basis that maybe aren't famous based on being well-known, but what they do on a day-to-day basis for their family is amazing.
You bet. Okay, question number 4. What was the first concert you attended?
I worked as a freshman in high school. I'd clean up at Exarban, and so the Coliseum they'd have of course the horse racing, but then they'd have concerts there. So Donnie and Marie Osmond, I got, and I got to see the Charles Daniels band.
Ooh, yeah.
So that was working and be able to watch a little bit of the concert. I think the one that really stands out that I just went to was Beach Boys at Rosenblatt Stadium, the old Rosenblatt Stadium.
Yeah.
Concert. So those pop in my mind as when I was much younger.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, your question back to me.
What was your dream job? What was your growing up? What were you thinking? Was this it? What we're doing today? Or
pretty much, Mike. And I've told this story a few times. So I'm a little bit older than you, but so back in the 70s, growing up in Nebraska, I mean, I was a Husker football fan, right? And so I remember 10-year-old Danny. I couldn't wait after I listened to the radio broadcast of the football game with Lyle Brimser with my dad in the garage. I couldn't wait for the next morning for the Lincoln Journal and Star to show up on my doorstep so I could read about the football game. And so it didn't take me long to say, what the hell's on the front page of the paper? And so I got hooked. I mean, what was going on in 1971 on the front page of the paper? The Vietnam War, Watergate, so those moments drew me in. And so I became the 10-year-old nerd that was reading the paper from cover to cover. And so that's what got me hooked on public policy and politics. And I still get to dabble in it today. So,
you talk about listening to the game in the garage with your dad. I remember being able to just playing in the neighborhood. You could go like every second, third house would have the game on. You could go down the street and not miss a play.
Yeah.
Because someone had it on in their garage or yard or house when the windows were open. And this is a great memory of growing up in my neighborhood also, just listening to the game.
Yeah. And the kickoff was always at 1:00. It was always the same. Yeah. You knew what you were doing. So anyway, well, thanks for doing that. Okay. We are partnering with Flatwater Free Press and Civic, Nebraska on their voter guide project for these spring elections. And so I encourage our listeners and viewers to check that out. A great tool as you get ready to go to the polls next week for the Omaha mayor's race. So here are a few questions, Senator, from that voter guide. Question number 1. What is the most pressing issue facing the city of Omaha and its residents? And if elected, how would you address it?
As I mentioned earlier, it's public safety.
Yeah.
And right now what we have going on with the Omaha Police Department is not acceptable for the taxpayers of Omaha. Again, we're taking a dangerous job and not making it safer. That's our job, for them to go out there and protect us. And being 120 plus police officers short today, having this problem go on for over 4 years. And as a state senator, we worked on this. And if you look at some of the things we did with retention pay and the idea of trying to also look at tuition reimbursement and other things to help retain and recruit police officers, we measured it from 2023 to 24. We ended up going up approximately 13% more police officers in the state. At the same time, the city of Omaha was going down 15%. That's not acceptable. As I mentioned earlier, I would reach out with Sheriff Aaron Hansen, as he did for the city of Omaha, and say, okay, can we contract out while we recruit more police officers, contract out with Aaron Hansen and the sheriffs to possibly do some of that traffic enforcement. I mentioned earlier about the recruiting and going into other cities with lateral transfers, making some internal changes where we should not be the fourth highest paid police officer, or possibly sixth coming up here in August when we're protecting the 25% of the population of the state.
Yep. Very good. Next question. The city of Omaha's use of tax increment financing has drawn criticism, both locally and at the state level recently. If elected, how would you either safeguard TIF's current form or advocate for changes?
Well, as a state senator, I supported tax incremental financing. And I supported the idea of taking it from 15 years to 20 years for blighted versus extremely blighted. But also, I said, it's a tool like anything else. And we have to put some rails on that. And right now, we talked about at one point, I supported the idea of not, when I was a state senator, letting people double TIF the same property. Or go from extremely blighted to extremely blighted in the same project within moving it from 15 to 20 years after the project was almost completed. So some of those things I think should be put in place, and I made sure that my voice was heard on that over the years. But right now, what's going on, excuse me, with the Omaha streetcar that I've called, I think, a streetcar named disaster, because I think we're using 150-year-old technology based on, I'm not opposed to public transportation, but I think it should be for the public and not for the developers. And I think public transportation should also be for the idea of going to work and school and getting your groceries. So we have 4,500 miles of roads in the city of Omaha. We're going to dump $500 million into 3 miles of those roads. And I agree with State Auditor Mike Foley when he said this TIF project, this tax incremental financing project for the streetcar, is going to be the largest diversion of property tax dollars in the history of Omaha. And it's going to be anything but free for you taxpayers of Omaha. And not that he was saying there was anything illegal going on, but when the mayor promised, Mayor Stothard in 2017, that people would vote on the streetcar, not based on it was an ordinance or because it was a statute, because it was the right thing to do. I want to, if the people elect me, I'm going to help Mayor Stothard keep that campaign promise. And we are going to vote on the streetcar. And listening to people, that's our campaign. It's not about me, it's about we. And we're out listening to people. We're going to work hard and tell you the truth. And if I'm wrong and the people of Omaha want the streetcar, then fine, I'll work night and day to make it successful. I don't believe that's the case. And once the people have a chance to vote and their voice has been heard, then I think at that point, we can look at going a different direction with public transportation, but not wasting not wasting $500 million on 100-year-old technology. Again, looking at the future technology and how to move our people throughout our city, I think that's what we should be looking at. And again, I'm not opposed to tax incremental financing, but I think there should be some guardrails on it.
You're very efficient, Mike. You answered my next question about the streetcar project. So yeah, that was exactly what I was going to ask you, because that has been in the news quite a bit. You've made your stance on it fairly well known, and so yeah, I think you covered that. Thank you. Hey, we're ripping through these pretty good. Like many American cities, Omaha struggles with a severe shortage of affordable housing and a growing homeless population. At the same time, living conditions at the city's available low-income housing has drawn criticism from tenants and advocates. How would your administration tackle housing issues, and what can the city do to boost the availability of affordable housing?
Well, we have a homeless crisis going on in the city of Omaha. Over the last 12 years, it's gone up by 1,200%. The last 2.5 years, it's gone up by 40%. And I think as individuals, we should run to human suffering. I think as government, we should run to human suffering. But it's always got to be public safety first. And right now, you think about people living under bridges, behind houses, businesses, and cardboard boxes and tents. There's no hope or help in those cardboard boxes or tents. I think we have to approach it differently. And I don't think we can have 100 different homeless encampments throughout the city of Omaha. We have to look at, there's a safe zone, almost a FEMA type approach, where there's facilities, there's security, there's people that want to help through counseling for individuals to get the help they need and be the best version of themselves. But I don't think the way we're approaching it is working. And, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Our homeless population just continues to grow. If you look at our housing situation with City View as an example. It was in the news recently in the last 3 or 4 months. That problem's been going on for years. And those people should not have been living in those type of conditions based on we don't have enough inspectors. And those problems just continue to get out of control. And that's just not fair to the residents and the people that are looking for affordable housing. Also, I think we shouldn't ever be too proud to steal good ideas. And I think Missouri had a good idea with the idea of historical tax credits for homes that are over 50 years of age, to have that 20% and have it transferable, but make sure that we're trying to take the stock of housing we have right now that are older in our city and make sure we reinvest in that. Also, I think we have an opportunity to look at 80% of our area of housing right now is approximately single family. So roughly 20% we could do multifamily housing. Maybe we have to look at moving that up to the zoning from 21, 22, 23%, and to help with multifamily housing also.
Yeah. Hey, we're doing really good on time here. We're hitting it just right. So I've just got two quick questions here, and I'll turn you loose. What have I not asked that you wished I would have asked?
Well, I always want to thank all the people that are helping our campaign, and the people that have come with their ideas, concerns, and criticisms, and the people that have said, hey, I'm not going to vote for you, but I want to talk to you about an idea. Or people that said, hey, I want to vote for you, but what about clarifying this? There's been so many people who step forward, and that's why I think makes Omaha just a great city to live in. And I've been so just kind of overwhelmed and humbled and motivated by all the people that have volunteered for our campaign that are really excited about making a change in the city of Omaha. And again, our campaign's not about me, it's about we. And I've told people that I can lose this race, but we can win it together. And to be successful as a city, that's what we have to do. You know, working in the Capitol as a state senator and throughout my life, I've never accomplished anything worth talking about on my own. You know, I've introduced some things as a state senator, but you can't pass one thing by yourself as a state senator. You know, it's always about the numbers. It's 25, it's 33 to override a filibuster, or 30 to override the governor. But you always have to have people that you're working with. And I think God gave us all special talents, but I don't think he gave us the same talent. And to do something great, we have to bring those talents together. I think that's the way God designed it, for us to work together with all those different talents to really do something great for our community, our neighbors, and family and friends.
Very good. How can our viewers and listeners learn more about your campaign?
Oh, please, it's reach out to us. We're available. Our campaign headquarters is up and running. We've got so many people coming in every day. You can call me directly at 402-598-3800. You can reach out to MikeForOmaha.com. Please reach out to us, and we're willing to. Again, we're listening. We're working hard, and we're going to tell you the truth. Just don't say if you're pleasing everyone, you're lying to someone. So I can always agree, but you can agree to disagree and move on to the next issue. But we really are excited about all the people that have come forward. And our campaign headquarters is on 60th and Grover. It's the north side of the Firefighters Hall. So please stop by and talk to us. And if you have any time, again, people have been given time of their time, talent, and treasury. And we've really appreciated all the effort people have put forward and all the support they've given us. And again, it's been humbling and motivating. So we're working hard, and April 1st, it's right around the corner, April Fool's Day. So
that's right.
Make sure you vote on whoever I think decided to schedule that. Probably was laughing that they scheduled on April Fool's Day. But yeah, but please get out to vote, and please consider us. And we were looking forward to meeting more people and getting more ideas. But again, it's not about me, it's about we, and it's about our city going forward and this generation and the next.
Very good. Mike McDonnell, thank you for your time. Thank you for your service to our state and to our city. And thanks for running. I know it's not a small thing, but we'll be checking in. But thank you for your time. I appreciate it very much, Mike.
Thank you.
Well, my thanks to Mike McDonnell for joining me today. Best of luck to you in the Omaha mayor's race. You know, we're rolling out all of my interviews with the candidates for Omaha mayor leading up to the April 1st primary election. My thanks to Chase Porter, who produced this episode. Panology Tech Solutions for their technical help and equipment. Kim Remington, Parsons PR's Director of Operations. But most importantly, I want to say thank you to each of you for listening and tuning in to this podcast. And just a heads up, if you're catching this on YouTube, be sure to check out my other interviews with the Omaha mayoral candidates. That's the show. Thanks for tuning in. Now go do good things. I'm Dan Parsons.